Good morning and welcome to the Raben Report. I'm your host, Elliot Raben, so get ready to get triggered. Good morning and welcome to the Raben Report. I'm your host, Elliot Raben, as you might have heard in our intro, and with me, as usual, is my expert panel, Marshall, Adam, and Daniel. How are you guys?
Oh, just excellent.
Buenos dias. Yeah.
Very tired.
Yeah.
I feel that. I know some of us have assignments to do. We haven't slept.
Just drop the course.
Yeah.
Quick life hack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't had breakfast, but it's we'll eat after this.
I had like
We'll
a
have-
4 a.m. oatmeal, if that counts.
Does that count as breakfast? Did you go back to sleep after
No,
it?
no.
well,
Full
that's
disclosure, Raben Report viewers, I'm on 0 hours of sleep right now.
Hey.
So I might be a bit slow. My mental facilities might be a bit off.
Oh, God.
I might say, if I say something like our queer old dean instead of our dear old queen, you know why?
For the record, I put an alarm for 5:30 a.m. thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna go early to school and like work on my essays a little bit more before for the radio show, and I'm like, yeah, never mind. And I just went back to sleep till like 8:30 and then, like took the train back here.
I woke up at 10:45. It's
Oh,
11:11.
I mean, I would do the same thing, man. If you were that
bad,
close,
Yeah, I know. No, I'm terrible.
you a quick 1 minute shower and then.
Elliot's
it's right
giving
here.
me the death stare.
Yeah.
What about you, Elliot?
Me, well, I decided to sleep in today. No taxi today, though.
Mhm.
I
That's
drove.
good.
I
Hey.
drove. I got here around 10.
Like to
and-
Finch, right?
No, I drive down.
Oh, you drove
Oh,
down.
okay.
Cause
Oh,
I-
you
cause
drive
I-
downtown now?
on Tuesdays.
Oh, right. Your
Because-
your
because
internship.
I go to my internship in
yeah.
Etobicoke.
Right. Right.
It's got Coke in the name, Etobicoke. I wonder how much cocaine is done there. But anyway.
Ask Rob Ford.
Hey,
Rest in peace.
Hey.
Rest in peace.
Hey,
come
All
on.
right. All
My
right.
friend.
Cool your loins.
my
Cool
friend.
your loins. Okay.
Clear loins?
Cool your loins.
Okay. Well, to
So-
begin, as per Spirit Live rules and regulations, all opinions expressed on the show are not those of Ryerson or Ryerson faculty and are only those of the individual commentators. Viewer discretion is advised. Notice I didn't look at my paper this time.
Very
5
good.
seasons
Very
in, I can actually do
proficient.
it. So let's start with our recap of the week. We're going to start with some non-political news, but I think it's on everybody's minds, at least who likes superhero movies. Stan Lee has passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Who wants to take it? Somebody who's a big superhero fan.
Wait, is anybody?
For me, I'm more of a DC guy, but you can't really like.
Get
That's
out.
irrelevant.
How?
That's irrelevant. I just like
How?
Batman. I like Batman. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but you can't like undermine the importance of Stan Lee. He has like guarantee. Like, if it weren't for Stan Lee, there wouldn't be Batman and DC and like all this major influence that will be attributed to all of these comics. And I think I saw some good thing on Instagram where it was like Stan Lee had a quote saying. I was always like, he always looked down on himself because other people were going to be medical people or engineers and doing all this other stuff. But he was talking about how like entertainment is such an important aspect for people as an escape from reality and from their problems and stuff like that. And that's what I really think that most people really use his stories as like as a nice way to escape from reality and just
Yeah.
be happy for a couple moments while you're reading his books.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Be
You know,
happy.
I'm not a big movie goer, that much, but I do love superhero movies when I go, and I am a Marvel guy. I really think that the characters that Stan Lee created were just fantastic as
Yeah.
far as superheroes go. Superheroes are always kind of just
Spider-Man's just really great. That's
yeah, in general, most superheroes are never the best characters as far as the world of all fictional characters goes. But, like Black Panther, my favorite superhero, still haven't seen the movie. I don't know why.
So good.
And, Spider-Man's fantastic.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen the new one. I don't go to the movies. I
Yeah,
really
it's-
don't. I watch them years
pointless.
later.
Yeah, same.
Every movie
Like
I watch years
I watched
later.
the Amazing Spider-Man's like a year or two ago. Like yeah,
I
it's
saw Avengers opening night, loved it, and then haven't seen any of the other Avengers. I don't know how many more there are.
I still didn't see the first Avengers, but I watched Civil War. I'm like it's just so great. Like the kind of
The
quality.
Avengers are great.
Yeah.
There are some movies that you need to watch in theater. Yeah.
What's the one with Rocket Raccoon? It's just
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw in theaters. Loved. Way too long for. I don't know how long it was, but it felt quite long. But it was very good. All the
Yeah,
same.
I got bored. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't
watching
know
on Netflix,
how much there is to say about Stan Lee. But what I will say is like, how wholesome can you get? Like, you know, a lot of people have died in the last little while, and you always hear about the skeletons coming out of their closet, which I think is a bit distasteful, no matter who it is. But you know, there's nothing for Stan Lee, or not much at least, and you know, just such a great wholesome dude.
And
Yeah.
his wife passed away last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
could have
No,
been part of it.
you know, he's Canadian, so that's always.
Is he?
What?
He's Canadian.
No way.
I'm
No,
almost.
I know
no.
he's Jewish.
No, the
No,
guy
no,
who created
Jewish.
Superhero.
The guy-
Sorry, Superman.
Yeah, the guy
Superman,
who created
yeah.
Superman is
Yeah, yeah.
Canadian.
He's Canadian,
He's not
yeah.
Canadian.
Close,
Okay.
close.
All right.
It's okay,
All right.
it's okay.
All right. So never mind to that. But you know, I don't remember if it was Stan Lee, and I don't want to misquote again because. But I do remember reading that he was suffering elder abuse, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
So
It was never like confirmed, but yeah, it was.
there
was
were reports that he
yeah.
was.
Like he had a caretaker in his house, and the caretaker was
Yeah, the
abusing him?
caretaker
like
didn't
that.
let him leave. You know, just did not treat him right.
Damn.
And you know, elder abuse is just terrible, and it's
Yeah,
something
for
no
sure.
one hears about, and
Yeah.
it's something very rampant.
It's
and
really fucked
I
up.
hate to be a Debbie Downer in the moment of Stanley's death, but
I think it's important that like the death
Yeah.
of Stan Lee helps us bring out this
I
conversation
agree.
to the
Yeah.
centerfold.
It's something
you know?
that's not addressed very much, and I
Yeah.
think I would
Yeah.
imagine that a lot of people who are, you know, perpetrators of elder abuse probably it starts like slow for them, and then they end up like
Yeah.
all of a sudden they don't
It's
realize how
also-
bad they're doing it.
It's also worse when they're like senile in the sense that they
Yeah.
don't know
yeah,
what's
they don't.
going
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then hence like for example they'll
Steal from them or something.
No, like their children will show up, be like, "Where'd you get these bruises?" And then the caretaker will say, "Oh, she fell.
yeah,
Oh, he fell."
because
Oh.
they won't remember.
For the record, when I said that the perpetrators don't realize how bad they're doing it, I wasn't talking about like beating them up or stealing from them or anything. I mean stuff like not letting them leave because you start to get controlling, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
mean like physical
yeah,
assaulting
I
them.
still feel like it's on.
Oh, it's all
them.
terrible
Yeah,
still, but
yeah,
I
it's
feel
on
like-
them completely.
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff that happens.
Yeah.
with elder abuse.
Yeah. But rest in peace, Stan Lee.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was it was always fun to wait for the cameos and all that.
Yeah.
and all
I
that.
saw a good comment like on maybe on a YouTube video or something, but they were saying like to replace Stan Lee in the cameos, they should have Deadpool pretending to be Stan Lee in the cameos for all the new videos, for all the new movies.
Yeah,
I think that's a
that'd be
good
good.
idea. So
Yeah, well, he will be missed.
Yeah.
But moving forward, let's talk about. We got a lot to talk about, but we're gonna just skim it down. Tucker Carlson, he is a Fox News contributor, and FYI, we're not like supporting Fox News or whatever here. We're just talking about the situation that involves him. Basically,
I think he's terrible. I'm gonna put that out there.
You don't like him,
No.
okay?
I give him a 6 out of 10. There you go.
I think
give him a
he's
6.
I love him.
rude.
He's my favorite political commentator right now.
I think he's just rude and anyway. Yeah.
No, but he's able to. He was very well spoken, and he knows how. He can pick apart anybody's arguments when they bring him when a guest comes on the show. He's pretty good at that.
One of my
I
favorite things
disagree.
about him, I think that makes him high above Ben Shapiro. I'm not the biggest Ben Shapiro fan, but like as far as like looking at them objectively and ignoring my own kind of opinions, like Tucker Carlson early on in his career was destroyed in a debate by Jon Stewart, and I think that's the best thing that could have happened to his career.
Made him like toughed him up again.
Well, because now Tucker Carlson can lose debates. And it's okay. Ben Shapiro can never lose a debate or his career is over, which is why he'll never debate anybody, capable of actually debating. Tucker Carlson can debate people and lose, and it's okay. And I think that's one of my favorite things about him. When he debated Bill Nye, he lost, like, really badly. It was very obvious.
I was watching the recent one from Politicon with Sent Uger, and I guess
I didn't get to that yet.
Yeah, it was like an hour. I watched like the
Cenk
first 20
Uygur
minutes.
can't debate.
No,
Yeah, he's
terrible.
so
He can't
shit.
debate.
He's so bad. But Tucker Carlson, like, he made some valid points, and I think there's a different side of Tucker Carlson from the Fox News like that we see, and from what I saw from Politicon, because there he was very respectful. He wasn't like entitled and like elevating himself to an elite status when debating with someone else.
Yeah.
He was very respectful to Sent Uger, so I was like, Chen or Sent?
Cenk.
Cenk Uger.
Let me just inform viewers though what happened to him.
Yeah.
And basically a mob came to his house and started banging
Call
on
it
the
what it is,
doors.
Antifa. Call it what it is.
Antifa.
Well, a group of
did they-
protesters.
Fine,
I don't know.
Let's
if-
just
I
say
don't
group
know
of
if they-
protesters.
if
We don't
they,
know their
like, claimed
affiliation.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a group of protesters who stormed his house and started breaking down the door. His wife was the only one home. He's got 4 kids, and they basically said, like, what did they say?
So
They were
Tucker
Don't look at me.
Carlson, we will fight. We know where you sleep at night. Was the chant.
yeah. So again, like, what is it? You know, I think I know the answers that are going to come from this, but is it fair game to attack somebody at their home?
No, absolutely not.
No, it's
I
absolutely
think it's
disgusting what those protesters did. To be
Especially
honest.
the fact that, like, you know, they didn't get into the house, thank God. Well, his wife was home alone. God knows what could have happened there. But they did crack the door.
Yeah.
And that is,
Scary.
concerning
Terrifying.
because they were clearly trying to break the barrier there.
And she thought it was a robbery.
Yeah.
So she
And
went upstairs and hid.
I think the fact that you could do that to somebody, go find their home and, attack their home like that is just disgusting. Tucker Carlson, no matter how much people can dislike him, I think he has certainly not done anything worthy of going to his home where his family is. Like, that's just terrible, I think.
Even Ann Coulter or Ben Shapiro, and if any of those people, and maybe we are just singling out conservative people because those are the ones that get attacked by protesters.
No?
Nobody remembers the pipe bombs that happened the last 2 weeks.
That's true. All right. fine.
No,
I mean,
of course.
I was just gonna
Well,
mention just these
yeah.
people because most people get offended by what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, regardless of what they say, like in their immigration ideas and stuff like that, it doesn't justify those type of actions, and especially not even just attacking that one person, but attacking their loved ones. That's just fucked up on so many levels. Yeah.
And, it happened in California. That's where Tucker Carlson lived. If that had happened in any other state, basically any other state, I think the guys banging down the door very well would have been shot.
Yeah.
And to be fair, rightfully so. California does have stand your ground, or they do have castle doctrine for sure, which means there's no duty to retreat within the house, but they also have very strict gun laws in general. So,
So, what are you trying to say?
well, I'm saying that, if this happened in Mississippi or something, and they were trying to bust down the door, and
The whole story could have been
Tucker's
different.
wife shot the person, well, that's what would have happened, I think, and I think that would have been what should have happened. I think that's what.
So, if Tucker Clarkson's wife had a gun, like, things would have
Ended differently.
ended
Yeah.
differently. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Makes
mean,
sense.
I think that's why people often have guns, and that's just the kind of scenario that you don't know what's going to happen. Who knows what they would have done if they had gone into the house? And I think it's
In those moments, like, you can't just think 100% rationally and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
gotta like your survival instincts are gonna kick in. So if I was in that situation and a bunch of Antifa protesters, I'm gonna say that at least. Or you guys don't have to call them Antifa, but like I would have done that. Like if I was in like a state with a stand your ground law. I would
absolutely, yeah. If
just
somebody was
gun them
trying to
down.
break into your home,
But
and yeah.
if you're talking about thinking rationally, I don't think that Tucker Clarkson's wife would have been like, okay, let me check if California has a stand your ground law, and let me pull out my gun.
No, I'm saying
no.
If she had a gun-
California does have castle doctrine. What they don't have is a easy way to get guns in California. So the castle doctrine means that if somebody is trying to break into your home, you can shoot them. And
Yeah, but
no
if you want a
consequences.
gun, you will get a gun.
Yeah, for sure. I would
Yeah.
imagine that they
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
don't have a gun in the house.
Okay.
it's just sad to see that happen. To
It
attack
is.
someone's private home, pretty much.
Yeah, we might even have another debate on gun control since it was brought up right now. But the last thing I want to talk about, again, a bunch of things. So I'll mention it briefly, and we'll talk about the other thing. But the California wildfires have already killed over
29
30.
people.
30, I heard.
Yeah, they updated it.
Yeah. So
It's like 200 people are still missing or something
Yeah,
like that.
and I know like Gerard Butler, Miley Cyrus, and Lady Gaga's homes have been damaged. Kardashian's homes have been damaged. Not that we're here for the gossip, but Gerard Butler posted a sad photo that his home and his car like completely burned down, which is
Like,
definitely
For me, like, I don't really care about that, but I do appreciate that those celebrities are using their tragedy as a way to highlight the disaster. So like
I agree.
What they were saying is like, yeah, this happened to me, and like, it's okay, I can replace all this stuff. But there are other people who are going to affect this, and that's going to change
Yeah.
their life drastically. So that's why they're trying to advocate for donations to get
Yeah.
people to help them and stuff like that. And I think that's very important. What those celebrities should have been doing.
I've been pretty pleased with what I've been seeing response-wise. I haven't seen any celebrities making it about themselves.
No.
Donald
It's,
Trump.
Oh, I actually
That's
didn't see
true.
that. But
Yeah,
I'm
that's,
not, I frankly not
that's
surprised.
pretty messed up
but-
what he did there.
Yeah, no, he was like, there's no reason for the wildfires to be happening.
Yeah, they
This
should have
is
had better
California-
fire management
Yeah,
or
this is
something.
California mismanagement of federal land. They better, smarten up or we're going to relinquish control. He cut funding for
Yeah.
states to have control over federal land. He cut the parks funding.
That's
What
a
do
pretty-
you want?
That's a pretty shitty thing to say.
You
for
can't
sure.
have your cake and eat it
I
too.
agree.
Like, I don't understand.
I agree.
Also,
Yeah.
he doesn't believe in climate change. Like, what do you want
Yeah.
from a president?
No,
that-
I'm in total agreement
Yeah.
there. Now, have you guys heard about the whole eucalyptus from Australia thing? Is that true? Does anybody
What?
know?
I've never heard. I know what eucalyptus is. I know
So
it's primarily grown
these
in Australia.
trees burning down are eucalyptus trees, largely.
You
And
sure?
so,
It's like thousands of acres.
yeah, they have a lot of eucalyptus in California, or at least, sorry, it might have been what I read
Could have
is that
started.
the eucalyptus started the.
Could have
'cause
started.
Eucalyptus burns very easily.
Yeah, no, I know
Actually,
that because Australia's had
Yeah.
some nasty freaking
Eucalyptus
fires.
catches fire on purpose as much as a tree can do something on purpose.
Oh wow,
Because in order to spread their seeds, it
They-
requires heat.
wow. Okay.
Just a weird evolutionary mechanism.
Yeah,
And
well,
so what I was
Australia,
reading-
right? It's a hot
yeah,
place.
Exactly. What I was reading in the 20s, Australia sold California a bunch of eucalyptus.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it too.
knowing that they cause fires. The problem or the
Well, like-
thing is in
yeah.
Australia, all the eucalyptus trees are kind of away from where people live.
Hmm.
This wasn't the case when they sold them to California. I'm not sure if that was true though, so I was just
Well, I don't want to sound like a freak, but I spent the last little while doing an essay on the pomegranate fruit and essential oils as an industry. Too late. I sound like
Very,
a
very
freak.
specific.
Yeah, weird flex, but okay. But like, so I've been reading a lot about the industry and how it primarily stands in California. That all these essential like things that produce essential oils and all these like hippie sort of gentrifying characteristics that everybody just loves eucalyptus, like all the soaps and all the oils and all the creams and whatever. So to hear that California has a large eucalyptus forest isn't surprising.
yeah.
It's just this fire is now like thousands and thousands of acres.
So yeah, I think now that you say that, what I think I read is that
I
the
can understand. Yeah, that
eucalyptus
starts
the
the fire
because they
but,
catch fire because
yeah.
eucalyptus oil is flammable.
Yeah. So that I can believe.
What did we find?
The reason that I started laughing about pomegranates is because of this video. Don't play it. Let me just get the camera on it.
Pretty sure you guys seen this one. but
It's actually hilarious. I don't know where it came from, but
it happened. I remember seeing it a year or
What
two
happened?
ago. But
you'll see.
No pomegranate.
Oh, that.
Oh
yeah.
yes, I just saw that.
No pomegranates.
I think I just saw that today. Did you send that to me?
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you did.
I don't want them anywhere near here. Am I?
Wait, let it go. Oh.
Say the rule again. No pomegranates.
Oh God.
Oh my god. Okay, that's why I started laughing about pomegranates. But again, weird flex, but okay.
But what was the? Sorry, you wanted me to get that clip while you were
It
explaining.
just
the thing?
didn't. It doesn't matter.
Aw, it's okay. We can talk about
Well,
it.
I'll sum it up.
Yeah.
He said he's not surprised that there's lots of eucalyptus trees in California because of how kind of bohemian eucalyptus oil is and how fashionable it is in California
Yeah.
and hippie culture.
Yeah, like with your kombucha and all that crap.
Yeah,
pretty much.
exactly.
So moving on to our main topic, our main story, the monarchy of Canada. Let me just get the graphic.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's the wedding song. What do you-
Yeah, the royal wedding. There you go.
That's what I just think of when I think of the Royals.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's all they're good
Just
for
let me
now.
refresh the poll here before.
Yeah, so I'll bring it up.
announce the results.
So the Canadian monarchy designates the King or Queen of England as Canada's head of state. Currently, that is Queen Elizabeth II, whom is also monarch of 15 other independent nations that fall within the Commonwealth. In the federal government, we have a governor general who is essentially the monarch's middleman to the
Yeah.
Canadian government. So the Queen's bitch. Now, not everyone in Canada loves the monarchy. Polls suggest that the country is actually split quite evenly on whether the institution is worth keeping. Is preserving constitutional ties to the monarchy something that benefits Canada? Or does it undermine Canada's independence from Britain and bind the country to an out-of-date political system? Let's find out what my expert panel thinks on today's show. Before we start, remember we are live on Facebook, so you can comment on our feed to have your thoughts read live on air. So let's begin with the results of our poll. Marshall.
So much like Canada at large, the results are quite even. So 43 people voted, 53% for keeping the monarchy, and 47% for abolishing it.
And you mind just reading the options that we gave?
Yeah. So the two options were, the question was, should we keep or abolish the monarchy? And the two options were keep, the Queen is great, and abolish, she does nothing.
So, personally, are you fans of the monarch?
I'm a huge monarchist.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Marshall's a big monarchist.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with no. It's a no from me. I like them in the sense of the celebrity value. One of my dad's best friends is a travel agent, and she always tells me that the reason why the world is so obsessed over the royals is because no. Let me start again. The whole reason why the U.S. has Hollywood is because they never had the royals. That's what she always tells me.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like we mentioned that like briefly before.
Could be. I feel like I tell that story to everyone.
Yeah. But like, it's
Yeah.
facts. Yeah.
So for me, I like them in the sense of the celebrity value, but with the ties to the monarch and how terrible the monarch has been over the course of history and what they represent. I can't support the monarchy for the institution itself.
What do they represent? Tell us the history about it.
The way that I see the monarchy, they represent so much of and I know that for a long time the monarch hasn't been the sovereign ruler of the United Kingdom, but for me the monarchy represents a lot of the colonial history of England and a lot of that. So I think that
Yeah, I would
can't-
definitely say that like the monarchy, like it basically like what it does, it legitimizes their actions, their colonial actions. Basically,
Yeah.
that's basically what it says. Is like, oh, like, we invaded this country and we did all of this stuff, or we invaded this land and we did all this stuff, and it's okay because we were able to establish dominance over Aboriginal people. And if anything, it's like the monarchy is just a celebration of, it was able to control half the world.
That's how I see it.
So
Right?
I knew Adam was going to say that. I had a That's So Raven vision today while I was getting ready. I knew Adam was going to say that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I should start from my more basic point of view, but I don't want to get ahead of myself, Elliot. So are we going to discuss the Jagmeet Singh situation in
Yes, we
particular?
are. We're
Okay.
going to talk about that later. But
you want to focus on that first?
So, I mean, my thoughts on the monarchy, and I have a lot of thoughts on the monarchy, so I'll try not to, give a whole verbal essay here. But, so I'm a big supporter of the monarchy, mainly because, well, geez, there are so many ways you can go about being a monarchist. But I think the reason that I would, generally tell people who are kind of unaware of its purpose is that it's the foundation of Canada, the very... the literal foundation, like when you build a house, the foundation. Canada was created as a bulwark against republicanism. We were created in the wake of, we were confederated, rather, in the wake of the U.S. declaring independence, declaring themselves a republic. Because we, being the British Empire, wanted to ensure that the empire had a place in North America, because North America is a great place to be. And I think to do away with the monarchy, as a lot of people want to do, and I mean, I know that not all people who don't like the monarchy want to do away with it necessarily, but I do also know that a lot of people want to get rid of it. I think that would just be completely undermining the the foundation of our nation, and I think that's really important that we have that foundation there.
Would this go back to the history argument in terms of destroying our history, like tearing down statues? Would you put those two in the same category?
Yeah, I think a lot of people really downplay the significance of destroying history and of ignoring history in a lot of ways. Like, I heard a lot of people saying after the Sir John A. Macdonald statue in Victoria came down, oh, he's not being erased from history, he's still going to be in textbooks and stuff. But who knows? If you can take down a statue of him, you can certainly take him out of textbooks.
Yeah.
And people say it's just tradition, it's in the past, it doesn't matter, we should focus on the present and on the future. But, the present that we have now, and we do live in a really good country. I know we've got a lot of problems, Canada, but we do live in a good country. That didn't come from nothing. We have a great country because of our traditions, and to undermine those and to do away with them is, I think, kind of spitting in the face of our ancestors who wanted to make a good life for their progeny.
But see, there's an important thing to acknowledge the history of our country and how our country wasn't just made just like that, right? But I would say in an argument how they have revisionist Japanese history and stuff like that. They don't teach.
There's
they're
revisionist.
pretty good in Japan.
There's
aren't they?
revisionist history everywhere.
I know, but what I'm saying is
I
since
think Japan
history.
was a pretty bad example. I think they're pretty good over there, actually.
Really, I think
it used to be worse, but I think these days they're pretty good.
From the research I heard is they don't really talk about all the messed up stuff that they did in the World War II and before
mixed
that.
up with Germany.
You might, yeah.
Germany's been good.
Germany's been good at it. Japan has been terrible at it.
Japan hasn't talked about Korea being
The comfort women.
The
they haven't
comfort
talked about
women.
the rape of Nanking. I was actually reading that. It's ridiculous what happened there.
No, there have been problems everywhere. There's a huge problem in Israel now. Geography textbooks don't have the green line, which is the line around the West Bank and Gaza.
Really?
Yeah,
wow. That's fucked up.
They erased the border. They don't have any mention of anything other than they don't have a mention of the expelling of Palestinian citizens from the area.
But see, all of these examples, Germany, Israel, Japan, and Canada and stuff like that, all of it can be related to the idea that history is written by the victors, and it's very important that we need to fix and acknowledge the history from both sides and stuff like that, because if we really truly look at it, the there is an oppressor and the oppressed conflict that happens between
everything,
the head of state and Aboriginal people, or just everything, right? And here's one thing I was actually doing in the research for my my essay is the Toronto Purchase actually happened after the Royal Proclamation, which divided the 13 colonies in British North America, when they actually did the treaties with the Mississauga tribe, and at first they gave them menial stuff or whatever, horses, guns, and whatever, and then when they refixed they renegotiated the Toronto Purchase, they gave
2008, right? Something like that.
No, 1808.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh no, you're thinking of something else.
That's the settlement from the Supreme Court of Canada. That's where the Mississauga tribe got $125 million. But here, when they sold the land, when they sold the land from when they took the land from the Mississauga, what they paid was 2.5% of the market value of that land.
Wow.
And all of that land is literally from Etobicoke all the way to Scarborough, all the way up to York and stuff like that. And another document I wrote. Another document I wrote is they gave him 20 shillings, which was the equivalent of $20. That's just,
but the island of Manhattan was bought for $12. That's the tragedy of
it's crazy.
the duping and the trickery and the just manipulation and colonialism of the Dutch and the British and whatever
it's the full
European
exploitation.
Yeah, it's exploitation. That's the word I was looking for.
And the other thing I was also reading was the treaties that they made in BC and trying to give them access to fishing rights and stuff like that. After they started making their own, they started creating their own sovereignty in their own states. They completely disregarded what the treaties were, because if you really look at what the treaties were between Aboriginal people and the settlers, like from the Aboriginal perspective, their agreement was to share the land, whereas in the settlers'
They
idea,
broke every treaty.
yeah, and
They've broken
and the
every
settlers
treaty.
like they were just saying, oh, we're actually going to take full control of
Yeah.
it when it goes against all
treaties
of the
were
practices.
not meant to share anything.
Exactly.
They were meant to take.
Yeah, the
Like,
idea of a treaty, like when we look at the idea of a treaty now in modern sense, it's supposed to be like a bipartisan thing. Like,
there's no such thing as bipartisanship between the colony and the colonized.
Exactly.
There's no such thing.
And it's just ridiculous because like like all of us as Canadians, we should know that from the get-go. We should be learning about that in our high school textbooks. Because I remember when we were learning history, I just learned about what a great explorer John Cabot was and Vasco da Gama was, and how they did all of these beautiful things. And
There's some
idolize.
romanticization.
Yeah, I
of
idolize all of
Canadian
these
history.
people, but when I actually read into more history, when I actually try to like read a book, makes me like just realize like
Yeah.
everything I was learned in elementary school and high school was wrong.
The worry of erasure, in my opinion, I think should be of the colonial and genocidal legacy towards Aboriginal peoples, both in the United States and in Canada. I think that there is some revisionism to be of John A. Macdonald and of all the founding fathers
Yeah,
of
well,
Canada.
they do the
to
same
be-
thing with Thomas Jefferson,
to be
right?
to be complicit. Well, now very slowly they're realizing that Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner. Like that's, and you know, he said things like slavery is like holding the ears of a wolf. You know, you don't want to be there, but you don't want to let go.
Or all the research I see is like how like there's quotes that like they always refer to the Aboriginal people as savages, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so like messed up that like to think about that.
So, I mean, yes, Jefferson was a slave owner, and I will not defend that, of course. That's terrible. But at the same time, who wasn't a slave owner at the time? And when
That's a
we
fair
look
point.
at things like John Cabot.
but people need to know.
Oh, I agree.
that
Sure.
Thomas
Yeah, I
Jefferson
totally
was a
agree.
I
slave
think that's what
owner.
we're trying to like.
I think, yeah, I
tell
think
everyone right
we
now.
need to say, yeah, he was a slave owner, and I mean, to keep it in a Canadian context, we can talk about residential schools,
Yeah.
we can talk about Indigenous children being taken away from their parents,
all
and
the
that kind
treaties,
of thing.
yeah.
And we can, acknowledge that it happened and acknowledge that it was a bad thing. At the same time, I think it's also disingenuous to act like there were people who were doing better, like that there were morally superior people at the
Like
time.
you're
I don't.
like
I
using
don't
another-
think that's what anyone is trying to say.
Okay.
In my own opinion, I don't think that's what anyone's trying to say, that, oh, there were better people and look at what all these terrible people have done. I think what people are trying to say is that everyone was terrible.
Yeah.
Just nobody knows. And they're terrible, of course, in comparison to life now.
Yeah, and I don't think we can apply the standards of today to the standards of back then, to
And
300,
I
200 years
also
ago.
don't think at least from what I say, I don't think anyone is trying to do that. I think it's just to make people aware. It's
Yeah.
awareness.
And so the reason I don't see that is because if we want to make people aware, we can certainly do that. But I see people calling for the tearing down of statues, for the removal of iconography. And when you do that, you're not acknowledging what happened. You're just kind of trying to say that it didn't happen, or you're just saying that this person was so evil, such a terrible, awful person, that they're not even worth thinking about. And so, that can be done to certain people. If you look at somebody like Hitler, he was bad. This is the 40s where everybody was a bit, worse than us now, but he was especially bad. So we don't put up statues of him, right?
Yeah.
Right. But like I think the problem is though, like when we actually look at Canadian history, or like what I learned from Canadian history, I've always like deemed it to be like a great country, and like we've come so far from like the beginnings of our confederation and stuff like that. But the problem is like I was only taught one side of the story. I think it's important we need to
Yeah.
learn both sides of the story.
I think I've gotten the other side through university.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
university has been a good place for that. But like somebody like Cornwallis was worse than other colonial figures.
Yeah, there's certainly an argument to be made there, for sure.
So, if somebody wants to say that the removal of the Cornwallis statue in Halifax is justified versus the John A. Macdonald statue
Yeah.
in Victoria, like, how do you feel about that?
I don't agree with taking down the Cornwallis statue, but I totally see your argument, and I can get behind that.
Okay.
I think it does set a standard when people do want to get rid of statues of Johnny MacDonald and Egerton Ryerson. This is something that comes up so much, and I realize that we're drifting away from the topic. We should probably get back to it. But Egerton Ryerson, I recognize he certainly had a hand in the residential school thing, but as far as people go back then, he was a rather innocuous figure. He died before residential schools even started.
Yeah.
There was no way he could have known the impact.
See, I did a little bit of research on what Ryerson, because whenever I have this conversation, someone always brings up, oh, he's the worst thing ever and stuff like that, and I'm like, if he's actually the founder of the Ontario public school system, he should should be acknowledged and rewarded for that.
We acknowledge him for that. When we have a statue of him, nobody's saying like, yes, we have a statue of the guy who engineered the residential school system. We're saying like, we've got a statue of the guy who built the public school system.
But see, like, go ahead, Adam.
From what I see the value of removing Egerton Ryerson's statue. Like I'm for it. I'm gonna put that out there. From what I see, it's a symbolic removal off the pedestal to remove the statue.
Like instead of idolizing him anymore?
Yeah, Ryerson's name is going to stay, arguably forever.
Well, the thing is, they were asking for the whole
It's not
university name to change
that
too. So where does it end?
That realistically won't happen. I don't believe that it will happen.
It's too expensive. Just
not
financially
just. It's not
speaking.
just that.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. To
It's
be honest.
Just on that
There's
side,
there's
I mean.
always money if you want money for something. It's just a matter of where you're willing to put funds. There's so much other stuff into it, but that's what I see. I like you and like this goes for a lot of other like revered people in history. Gandhi, Martin Luther King. Like
Nelson Mandela, yeah.
revisionist history is coming for everyone. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Whether or not people want to accept it is a different story.
Yeah.
Like I hope Gandhi statues will come down.
Okay.
That-
What
like,
about Nelson Mandela?
Nelson Mandela was a terrorist.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm actually surprised you said that. I'm sorry for not giving
By
you that
definition,
credit.
he is.
None
He made
taken.
car bombs in South
Yeah.
Africa.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
I'm
a
a
lot
historian,
of people call him a freedom fighter.
Not to sound like a cocky kind of
Yeah.
pompous dude, but I'm a historian.
Yeah.
To not admit Nelson Mandela was a terrorist is wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to
okay.
call it as you see
Hot
it.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela, I
He
can't
was- he
think
wa-
of
yeah.
fewer, less deserving people of the amount of veneration he gets.
Yeah.
But I don't.
See, I used
I
to
don't
think
wanna
so
see,
highly of Nelson Mandela before I
of
knew
course.
that, right?
I don't want
So
to
it's
see
like-
statues of him coming down because I think he was a fantastic president. And
He was.
in removing corruption from South Africa.
He is the symbol
and
of apartheid
getting
ending after all.
apartheid,
But at
you
the
know, out of there.
time,
And so, we really have to get back on track.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, back to the actual topic, which still relates to history and getting rid of it or keeping it. Let's talk about. We talked about really the consequences or the problems with the monarchy, but I want to hear everybody's take on what the positives are
Of having a
of-
monarchy?
of keeping the monarchy, because that was the next question. Whether what are the pros and cons? We've talked about the cons mainly. Let's
I think
just
it
so our audience knows.
I think it establishes very good international relations between the UK and Canada as a way to just appreciate the history that we have with them. Because without the UK empire, we wouldn't have Canada, so to speak, right? Canada could potentially have been
All
a complete French nation, or
It wouldn't have been.
no.
It would have been part of the U.S.
yeah, actually, yeah.
No,
Fair
there was
enough.
there was a whole plan to invade Canada.
Yeah, that's true, because
Then
the
we
7
burned
Years
down the
War
White
and all that
House.
stuff.
Which is why we have French language rights, actually, because without that,
Battle of
Quebec
the-
would have joined the U.S.
Battle of the Plains of Abraham.
That's true.
That
that's true.
is the one deciding place that we speak English instead of French.
What happened there?
There was a battle on the Plains of Abraham near Quebec City,
Yeah, I remember going there.
I've
We
been
did my
there.
Quebec trip.
I've
Yeah,
been
and the British won, and that marked the end of the War of the
7 Years War, yeah.
7 Years War.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
And at the time, like the British declared victory, and they gave the French language rights.
Interesting, because I know Celine did a concert there, so maybe it
Well,
was.
like regardless, like if it weren't for the UK stepping in, like for this empire to step in and to do this stuff, then Marsh was right. Canada would have just been like the 51st state, or like 10 other states
Yeah.
in the United States, right? So it's like,
Also,
yeah,
do
we
you,
got to
do you
acknowledge
think,
that.
Do you think that she doesn't, like the Queen herself, does she actually do that much
No.
that affects us in a positive or negative way?
She
No,
doesn't
and I
know.
think that's a good thing because people say she has no power. She does. But there's really
what?
no. Well, I mean, she is.
I know she's the head of state.
She is the head of
but
state.
what
and-
actual power does she have? Like, has there been a time where she's like, no, don't form government, I don't want it? Has that
Well,
happened?
Yes, I mean, there's been a couple prorogations, and you can argue that was the Governor General, but everything the Governor General does is through the Queen, or at least the Queen does.
Has
if
it
the
happened
Governor
in
General
recent
does it.
history?
Well, Stephen Harper's
What?
government in
happened?
2011. Yeah, there was a prorogation of Parliament after the vote of no
Confidence.
no
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah.
But it's something you'd see more in wartime, and not necessarily the Queen, executing actual legislation. Was that the right word? Executing? I don't know.
Executing.
Executing. But the Queen is very influential. The monarch is very influential, and we saw this in World War II, at the beginning of World War II, with King
George.
George, who was, a bit more friendly towards the Nazis. And he wasn't a supporter by any means, but he certainly didn't want to go to war with them. And this was a big thing. He abdicated the throne. Had he not abdicated the throne, I really think that the UK would not have gone to war with Germany, or at
He's
least
also
not so
very
soon.
sick.
Yeah, well, no, he married a divorcee, so he had to.
Yeah.
Oh
that's
yeah,
why.
that's yeah.
All right, he might have been sick.
No, that was King Edward.
Scandalous.
that was
King,
Edward. Yes,
that was
Edward.
King Edward that
Yeah.
abdicated the throne, and
Yeah.
then King George ascended the throne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for not knowing this as well as I should.
Yeah, no,
but-
King Edward married a divorcee.
Yeah.
I watched The Crown. That's the only reason why I know this. But yeah,
So
that
it's
was
good
King
though, right?
Edward. Yeah,
That show's good.
it's really good. It's very slow.
I-
Very, very, very slow.
I mean, I like Mad
John
Men.
Lithgow-
That's slow as fuck. So it's
John
like-
Lithgow is the best Winston Churchill I think I've ever seen. So I can give him credit for that.
Well-
But yeah,
But let's get back onto, not to cut you off, Marshall, but just the real reason that this topic was brought up was because of Jagmeet Singh. So apparently he
What a fall from grace.
He stated he was a Republican, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Marshall, since you brought it up, what does that mean? Like, in the sense that he said he's a Republican, what does that mean in that
A
context? 'Cause-
Republican is somebody who believes in a republic, who believes that a government should be run by a president, an elected president, instead of a monarch.
constitutional monarch.
Now, something like France has both a prime minister and a president, where the president is the more powerful one, and
Really?
somewhere
I
like
didn't know it had a prime minister.
but doesn't do much. And then you've got somewhere like Hungary, where they've got a president and a prime minister, but the president doesn't do much. And so it works differently across
Same with
different
Russia, they
republics.
have the
That's like-
president.
that's like
and prime
Israel,
minister.
too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
And-
everybody.
So yes, that is what Jagmeet Singh says. He says he doesn't support he doesn't see the relevance of the monarchy.
And so,
Yeah.
But
Adam,
he's like there is
No,
there
I-
is no relevance to the monarchy anymore. So if there is no relevance like besides the historical and the ceremonial aspect, then
Well,
there's no necessarily need for it.
That
then.
is the relevance.
So, but I want to know, Adam, what is the problem with this? With him stating that?
I just don't think it's doing him any favors.
That's true.
Why is that?
He's awakening a bear that does not need to be awakened. Like he's poking. Like he's just.
Is the NDP not a Republican party, or
No, Tommy Douglas was a proud monarchist.
Yeah.
And he was a ardent monarchist.
Would he
who-
be spitting in his grave right now?
Oh, absolutely.
For Jagmeet
I
Singh?
mean,
There are so many other
Tommy
reasons that he would
Douglas
be spitting in his grave.
The NDP is a disgrace to the legacy of Tommy Douglas, who I am quite a big fan of. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that
NDP
before.
Reformation. Hey.
what do you think, Adam?
Look, I'm a card-carrying member of the NDP. I voted for Jagmeet Singh as my number one choice in the leadership election. I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a very good, good for representation, a good leader, a charismatic leader. He's very good looking. I'll put that out there as well. There is
He is.
some value to being good looking in politics.
The
But
beard turban combo looks like fire.
no,
Looks really sick.
he's a very well kept man.
Yeah.
He is.
And I think that, when you're looking at an election, the way that Canadian politics works as it stands now, because Justin Trudeau flopped on electoral reform, don't get me started. But the way that it looks now, to win an election, you need Quebec and Ontario, or you need to win everything else except Quebec.
He completely alienated Quebec by doing this.
Completely, no. I
No.
don't think Quebec has any value to the monarchy
Right? Okay.
because it
Yeah,
represents.
they're not a big fan.
They're
in
not
general.
big monarchists because they're against the monarchy. But I think him being Sikh
Is what alienates.
alienates himself. I don't think it's right.
I think him wearing the turban more so than him being so
Yeah.
explicitly, like,
Yeah.
That's what he's a visible minority.
Yeah.
I think that really bothers
But-
a lot of Quebecers. I don't think it's right. I think it's terrible that I have to say this, but this is the truth. And I don't think that he's doing himself any favors if he wants to be prime minister. I think he's doing this because he knows that he will not be prime minister. There is a big problem in the NDP right now with his leadership. That so many of the hard-lined NDPs, that have won their seat no matter what wave of what changing tide or what's
Yeah.
the mood in the country, like Hélène Leverdier, Nathan Cullen, so many of these
starting lineup.
veteran
Yeah,
the starting line of the veteran NDPs are not running again because I really believe they don't think they're going to win under Jagmeet Singh's
Because they
leadership.
think the NDP is like changing, like it's changing very drastically.
Yeah, they're. I think what Jagmeet Singh's victory in this race and how he pulled around 18,000 new members,
Yeah.
including me, I think that he's appealing to young people
Right.
who love him.
Yeah.
I'm one of them, and I think that there's a big shift away from the hard-lined, which one's the steel workers, blue collar or white collar?
Blue collar.
So the blue collar sort of unionist, factory
much so.
workers, and moving into young socialist Democrats that sort of like him. And I think that he's just doing this for no real good reason politically. It's political suicide.
it is.
In
Saying that he's a
conclusion,
Republican?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's political suicide. I stand with him.
Like, you mean like
I agree with him.
that you're a Republican?
Yeah. Not that I'm Republican.
Oh,
I agree
okay.
with him that I don't see the relevance of the monarchy. But I think it is political suicide.
So
I took way too long to say that. I'm very
in
sorry.
response
all
to Jagmeet Singh's declaration of him being a Republican, he needs to step down as leader of the NDP.
Ooh, hot take.
He should not be eligible to be prime minister at this point. When you were sworn in as prime minister, you swear an oath to the Queen, and if he can't swear that oath with earnest, he should not be able to be prime minister. He should, that's just how it has to be. If I were the Governor General, I would not allow it.
But see, here's one other thing. Like, I wish we talked about it more. But like, even the position of the Governor General, do you think it's that relevant to like?
Yeah, the Queen can't be everywhere all at once.
No, but like, yes.
It's a big empire. The Queen needs representation across
Oh God.
the.
But
across
see,
the
like, I don't
empire.
like the idea of thinking that some queen that hasn't been here in forever, that has no true jurisdiction to this country, has authority over me and my rights and the Constitution that I'm following.
Hey,
she's
everybody! I'll say something. Everybody wanted the Governor General to step in to stop Ford because they have the authority. Everybody wanted the Governor General to stop Ford.
Isn't it Lieutenant
Governor? Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah,
wanted the representation of the Queen. That's still relevant
Yeah.
to the
Yep,
Queen.
yeah.
They wanted the Lieutenant Governor to step in.
But see, then like, why
Like people appreciate the value when it's relevant
Yeah,
to them.
it's-
if it were
hypocrisy.
if it were up to me, like our head of state shouldn't be the Governor General. We should just make a new.
Well, the head of state is not the Governor General. The head of state is the Queen. The Governor General is just her messenger.
But like what I'm saying is like then the Governor General should be the head of state
So
instead of the Queen.
here's the thing: the Governor General is still partisan. Her name is evading me right now.
Who?
It's not Michelle Jean.
No,
Yeah,
I know
that was
who
a while
it
back.
is.
No. Jeez.
She was an astronaut.
Astronaut, yes. She is
Anyway.
Right.
She is a partisan
Yeah.
person. She is a partisan
but
individual.
the position
She is
should be
liberal.
nonpartisan.
The Queen is above the politics of commoners. And I think that is very important. She is a symbol that ties us all together regardless of political beliefs that we can all get behind as Canadians. And in the event that the Lieutenant Governor or Governor General needs to step in, it is done from a completely non-partisan point of view. The Governor General, Lieutenant General, whatever, didn't step in because it wasn't seen as fit from the perspective of the monarchy, from the throne.
Yeah.
Well, to finish the episode off, because we're running out of time, quick yes or no. I'm going to start with you, Adam. Will the monarchy, will she stay or will she go?
She'll stay.
She'll stay, Marshall?
She'll stay. God
She'll
save the
stay.
Queen.
Adam, Daniel and
Yeah.
me? Yeah, she's going to stay.
I do want to say though, when Queen Elizabeth does die, there will be a question raised.
yeah.
I don't know.
I believe that.
but-
I
but
personally
anyway,
believe that.
I think the conversation should be had because like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like Like,
Yeah.
do we need it? Like, that's all we got to figure out. So.
Well, that was our show for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. And, we didn't get too many messages live, but that's okay. Next time, stay tuned for a big announcement. We've got a big special 50th episode coming to you. Again, more details to be announced later.
50 weeks.
50 times we've been here. And that's including our summer specials,
Jeez.
But until that time, a brand new episode of the Raben Report will be coming to you next week, which will be our 50th. Potentially different day, potentially different time, same people with guests. Have a great day, everyone.